Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome council, staff, and members of the public to our January 10th council meeting and call this meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson to review the disclaimer, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And so beginning this evening, we are technically inclined that we are now going to be recording the minutes or the meetings of council. So that recording will happen. You will see a notice that does pop up to advise you that we are recording. And just as a note, the disclaimer is for council members, staff, guests, and members of the public. We'd like to advise that the Council of the Town of Petrolia meetings are being video audio recorded and will be posted to the Town of Petrolia's YouTube page, along with the official written minutes to our website. As such, comments and opinions expressed may be published, and any comment expressed by individual council members, guests, and the public are their own and do not represent the opinions or comments of the Town of Petrolia as a whole and or the Council of the Town of Petrolia. The recorded video of the full council meeting is not considered the official record of that meeting. The official record of the council meeting shall consist solely of the minutes approved by council of the Town of Petrolia.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. And we are going down a new path, and I'm quite pleased to state that this council is even being more transparent than ever before. I'd like to ask Mrs. Ellsworth just to give us an update on what's happening, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, just a slight difference for tonight. Tonight's meeting will be recorded and then manually uploaded to the YouTube channel. Moving forward, the meetings will be live streamed with a 20-second delay to the YouTube channel. We just had this one set in place before we made the change to those policies for recording. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ellsworth. Moving on, at this time, I would like to request Mrs. Pearson, Clerk Operations Clerk, for the roll call, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And before initiating roll call, just a reminder to all that Councillor Dyton is on an approved leave of absence, so will not be considered as part of roll call. Councillor Field.
Present.
Councillor O'Hara. Councillor Purdy.
Present.
Councillor Such.
Present.
Councillor Welton.
Present.
Mayor Loosely.
Present.
And we do have a quorum, Your Worship.
Thank you. And I did see Councillor O'Hara on here, so hopefully he'll be coming back to join us. At this time, we'll get on to, I'd like to request that council declare a pecuniary interest now or at the appropriate time, and to complete the necessary paperwork for the clerk. So seeing none, I'll move on. For the adoption of the agenda before you tonight, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Field, seconded by Councillor Welton. And I will ask the clerk to read that motion so everyone can hear what we're voting on.
Thank you, Your Worship. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the agenda as presented for the January 10th, 2022 regular meeting of council.
Any discussion regarding that? If not, all those in favor of adopting the agenda? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to number 5, we have the consideration of our previous minutes. First one is the council regular meeting held on December 13th. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Welton, seconded by Councillor Purdy. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. That is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt as circulated minutes of the regular meeting of council held on December 13th, 2021.
Thank you. Any errors or omissions? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And the second one is the minutes of our Education Council session with Mr. John Mascarin, held also on December 13th. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Field, seconded by Councillor Such, and I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt as circulated minutes of the Education session of council held on December 13th, 2021.
Any questions, errors, or omissions? If not, all those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That moves us on to the inspirational message. And today we have Councillor Such providing that, please. So Councillor Such, go ahead.
Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. By Marie Curry.
Thank you, Councillor Such. Well done. Moving on now to our round table. As council is aware, I continue to rotate this. And first on our list is Councillor Field, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just comment, I guess. I just want to thank our arena staff and congratulate Silver Stick Committee on a successful Silver Stick. It was a unique one for them. I talked to the director, Nick Solaris, and his comment was it was a lot of work and it was done the right way. And, you know, I think they proved that it can be done when people work together, and he has a great team of volunteers, and we have some pretty amazing staff at the arena. So just want to congratulate them all on Silver Sticks. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor Field. I also will be mentioning them in my roundtable report as well. All right, Councillor Welton, please.
Nothing at this time, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor O'Hara. I think you're on mute, Councillor O'Hara. Okay, I'll come back to Councillor O'Hara. We'll move on to Councillor Purdy.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just have one thing. I know everybody knows, been following like the case numbers of COVID are up in our community and province-wide for that matter. I just like to, remind people that, vaccination is an option. I realize the majority of people in our community have gotten the vaccinations and the booster, but I realize there are, a small proportion of the population who won't get it and who refuse to mask and do other safety things. And just being a healthcare worker myself, I just want these people to know that, like, this isn't a joke. This isn't government overreach. This isn't the flu. This is highly transmissible. It's affecting healthcare workers and families and the greater public in general, people that are immune compromised. And it really disheartens me to see, the fact that we're, year 3 into this and still no farther ahead. And I just think that, people need to really stop and think, less about themselves and more about the greater public good. And I just wanted to kind of stress that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor Purdy, and that's certainly well set. Councillor O'Hara, can I come back to you now, please?
Yeah, I with the vaccination thing, I agree 100% with Councillor Purdy that we have to all, encourage everybody that we know around us to be vaccinated. Like that is the end of this COVID thing that we have. We have to be vaccinated. If we are not, it'll still keep going on and on for maybe years. I don't know what else to say beyond that, but.
Okay, thank you, Councillor O'Hara. Councillor Such.
I have nothing at this time, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. I do have a short report. I attended the Business After 5 hosted by the Sarnia-Lambton Chamber of Commerce on Wednesday, December 15th at the Insignia Hotel in Sarnia. And just to add to that, they will be doing a short video in Petrolia next week. And it's been put on by the Chamber of Commerce, and it's just to promote the local businesses. So I look forward in being involved with that as well as others. So I just wanted to let you know. I want to congratulate the Black Gold Brewery on winning the gold in the brown British beer category for What the Frack, and silver in the European sour ale category for our Discovery Series Berliner Wiese from the Ontario Brewing Awards. And again, I want to thank them for making Petrolia proud. Due to the fact that Councillor Dighton has been granted a leave of absence and was to be the acting mayor for January and February, everyone will be moved up 2 months. So the acting mayor for the months of January and February will be Councillor Joel Field. And I know there's not a lot of involvement with the acting mayor because we're kind of stuck at home. Congratulations to the Petrolia under-18 Oilers for winning at the Petrolia Earl Travail Memorial Silver Stick Tournament. Also, congratulations to Mr. Nick Solarius and his committee, to all the volunteers and to the arena staff for helping to make the tournament a great success, as Councillor Field early outlined as well. Congratulations to Petrolia Town Crier, Mr. Les Whiting, for his first place win at the 20th Annual Muskoka Escapades of Town Crying Competition, and also winning the best natural setting was in front of the Fitzgerald Rig located at the Petrolia Discovery. Congratulations to Jacqueline Sanders of Gill Chocolates in Petrolia on winning 3 bronze awards at the Canadian Craft Chocolate Competition for 2021-22. And again, thank you for making the town of Petrolia proud. Special thanks to the Petrolia Rotary Club in partnering with the town of Petrolia to offer the Community Garden Program located on the west side of Center Street between Portland Avenue and the town's works yard. I believe this will be a very worthwhile project. I would like to finish by asking the residents to continue to support our local businesses and restaurants during these difficult times. That's all I have. So moving on to number 8 is correspondence for information. We have A to D, unless council wishes to pull one out separately. And I'll ask for a motion to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Purdy, seconded by Councillor Field. And is there anyone wishing to pull any additional items out? If not, I'll have the clerk read that motion, please.
Thank you, and that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file correspondence items 8A through D.
Any discussion regarding those items? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. For correspondence for consideration in motion, we have none tonight. However, I'm pleased regarding delegations and presentations, and I'd like to call on Mrs. Ellsworth, please, to introduce the people involved.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's my pleasure to invite Jane Anema, Executive Director of the Sarnia Community Foundation and the Petrolia Community Fund, retiring soon, I understand, to join us tonight. And Wayne McFarlane, one of the board members for the Petrolia Community Fund as well. Those are the 2 I'm aware of, Your Worship, but there might be a couple of others on to do some microgram presentations.
Okay,
Are
thank you.
indeed several others on. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Laurissa, for that introduction. I'm going to start my video. Right? Right.
We can see you now, Jane. Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I'm not dead yet. I'm not retired yet. The board has not yet made an appointment. So it is my honor and privilege to work continuously or continued on behalf of the Petrolia Community Fund, which is actually coming up to its 10th anniversary.
Wow.
Which perhaps might be an opportunity for some celebration. I hadn't really factored that in yet, but perhaps that's something that we should have a conversation about. I am joined tonight by Wayne McFarlane, who ably chairs this committee currently. He's also joined, I think Roseanne Orcutt is online tonight. And I think Steve Mayu is as well. We also have Debbie Freeman, Sarah Milner, and Mike Burke as part of that committee, who look to not only increase funds at the fund, but also to make grant decisions. And a number of our grantees are with us tonight. I'm extraordinarily pleased to inform council and the community that this year the Petrolia Community Fund will be granting $11,350. That's the big check that I have right here, which you can't actually see, but that's okay. I have it here. And they are going to 6 organizations in the community, starting with the Organization for Literacy, who is online. So if Tracy, we usually generally ask our grantees to spend 30 seconds telling the committee what, or the council what the funds will do. So I would beg the mayor's indulgence to put those folks online. So that would be the Organization for Literacy, the YMCA Petrolia. Joe's present. Rebound in Petrolia, the Lambton Young Theater Players, and St. Paul's United Church, along with Parents for Parks. So if folks
okay,
can
that-
have 30 seconds on the mic, I think you would be thrilled to know what they are doing for your community.
Thank you, Jane, and I'd certainly be pleased to give them the 30 seconds. So whoever you want to start first, go ahead.
Well, how about we start with Literacy Lambton? Tracy, you're on.
I knew you'd make me first, Jane. I do apologize, everybody. I'm a little bit sick still. It's not COVID, but anyway, just sorry for the voice. So thank you very much. This is tremendous news for our organization. And what we're going to be doing in your community is we've been working really hard through this pandemic to try to reimagine and retool a program that was once called Skill and Drill. We have rebranded it to Train Your Brain. And what we are hopeful to do once we can get back to doing what we do best is we're looking at doing a program called Train Your Brain throughout the year in Petrolia in 3 different terms. The program would be targeted to grades 3 and 4, and it's super fun. I mean, we like to think of it as sneaky literacy. We're gathering the kids. We have a head coach, because it's Train Your Brain, and they'll be taking the kids through fun reading and math games to get them the foundational skills they need to go on for later school success. So that's it in a nutshell. And thank you all. I appreciate you having me here tonight.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tracy.
should-
And Jane, before we go on, I think just to simplify this, maybe I'll open it up to council for any questions after each one gives some information, so you can kind of remember what's going on. So if that's okay, I'll just turn it over to council. Do you have any questions for Tracy regarding her brief report? If not, that's great. Thank you, Tracy, for coming to address council. This is good news for everyone. Back to you, Jane.
And I will let you know that this is a record for the Petrolia Community Fund, and that this is now the largest grant that the Petrolia Community Fund has given. It is $3,600.
Wow, that's
So
great.
that's actually very exciting. I'm going to switch over to Joe Sablaski, who's from the YMCA Petrolia. Joe?
Excellent. Thank you, Jane, and thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, without a doubt, we're incredibly pleased. We've had a tough week or so at the YMCA over the last little bit. So to come on and join you guys here tonight and celebrate what truly is going to be some support that will better our YMCA experience. We are very fortunate that the Petrolia Community Fund has supported us and granted us the dollars needed to upgrade our PA and microphone system at the YMCA. So as many of you know, our seniors membership and our boomers program and a lot of our community engagement events take place outside. So this is just going to, again, help us create a better experience for our members in our community. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight and thank you virtually and be part of this. So again, thank you, Jane, and to your team. And thank you, everybody, for your support.
Great.
You
Thank you,
really
Joe.
need to make sure you thank the committee who believes in Petrolia and who believes in the why.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, I'll turn it over to council. Is there any questions for Joe regarding his brief report? I mean, this is all exciting news for everyone. This is great. Okay, Jane, we'll move on to the next one, please.
Great, and I'm going to follow up with Rebound Petrolia. Rebound, as you know, is an organization that is actually national. It is headquartered in Sarnia, but it runs fairly robust programs in Petrolia. Anita and Tiffany are with us this evening, and they're going to talk just a little bit about what that program will do in terms of art and mindfulness.
Okay,
Awesome.
go
I'll start,
ahead.
and I'm going to share my time with Tiffany. I'm the Fund Development Officer, so I just wanted to thank the town of Petrolia for choosing our program and embracing everything that Rebound does for the youth out there. And this is a new program that Tiffany created. We've already experimented with it in Sarnia and in Forest. Tiffany, I'm going to let you tell them a little bit about the Art and Mindfulness program that you've worked so hard to coordinate.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. It's something that I definitely believe in, the using art as a conduit to engage youth with mindfulness practices. And so thanks for giving me the space to speak. I'll really quickly tell you a little bit about what the program entails. And so, like I said, using art techniques, fine art techniques specifically, to connect youth to mindfulness practices to promote resiliency. That is the main outcome of the program. So we were finding specifically just with the pandemic looming for so long that youth's mental health is definitely they're struggling. I mean, I think we all are in some ways. And so this is a way to connect and ground in the present moment, to be present here and now, to find ways to be more mindful about your spaces, about your families, about how you show up in places. And we actually are using art to do that. And this is all evidence-based practices. So I did a lot of research and pulled from other great research that has been done specifically using mindfulness and art. And I'm so happy that you chose us and that we get to participate in this in Petrolia. Really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany and Anita. I mean, it's all good news and it's good for us to hear this as well. I'll open it up to council. Does council have any questions or anything you'd like to add? If not, I'll turn it back to you, Jane, please.
Not a problem.
Jane,
Yes,
Jane,
Wayne.
it's Wayne speaking.
Yeah.
I would like to take an opportunity to say a few words.
Yeah, Wayne, just before we
Absolutely,
start,
go
can
for
you
it.
move Wayne, we can only see the top of your head. Can you move your camera down? There you go.
There he is.
Okay,
better.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Sorry, I was meaning to speak earlier, but I just wanted to take an opportunity now to recognize the following individuals that have contributed to success this year. First is Jane Anema for her knowledge and experience as the executive director of the Sarnia Foundation. The selection committee consisting of Roseanne Orchid, Debbie Freeman, Stephen Mayu, Sarah Milner, and Mike Burke for their service to the community, and Laurissa Ellsworth for her support and assistance in getting the word out. At last, I'd be amiss if I didn't mention the donors that make it all possible. And as the saying goes, which is in print on much of our documentation, we help good people do great things today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. That's nice to hear. And certainly we appreciate all the work the volunteers and the selection committee do this along with Jane. This is wonderful for the town of Petrolia. Jane, have we gone through all of them now?
No, we've got three more, but Wayne,
Okay.
I think Joel Field has a question.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Joel, are you okay?
Yeah, I'll just, at the end, I just have a comment.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Jane.
Great. I don't know if there's anybody from Lambton Young Theatre Players on tonight. They are receiving a grant that is for operations. As with most arts organizations, the last 2 years have been extraordinarily difficult. being able to present to the public and be, especially when you rely on ticket sales. And so this will help to ensure that that particular program continues in the community. And so I'm sure that they are more than grateful for the support. I'm going to follow that up with, there are two more. One is St. Paul's United Church. I know Larry is on board. That is for a community fridge, and that's kind of an unusual project. So I'm going to let Larry speak to that one because it is something that is needed, particularly during this time, but perhaps even beyond. Larry.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
Larry, go ahead.
Thanks very much, Jane. Yes, I'm representing Petrolia Community Refrigerator. And what this project is, it targets food insecure people in our community. And as we know with the pandemic with COVID, this first really got started in Europe about 3 years ago and quickly spread to the US and now is in major cities in Canada as well. But this is the first of its kind, I believe, in Lambton County, and certainly for a small community like Petrolia. We initially started out 8 to 8, operating 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And over the Christmas season, we opened 24/7, and we are now continuing 24/7 that we're open to the public. We want to thank the town of Petrolia and the Sarnia Community Foundation for your support. We know that this is a first time thing and an unknown for everybody, especially us. But thank you very much for your support. We really do appreciate it.
That's great. Thank you. And I am very familiar with your program, and I think you're doing a great job, and it's a great service to the community. I'll open it up to council. Does council have any questions? If not, thank you, Larry. Okay, back to you, Jane.
I know we all want to live in a world where nobody is hungry and nobody is wanting for anything. And this particular project really struck a chord with the community committee, thinking, well, this can't be happening in Petrolia, except that they knew it was, and that was the reason for their funding. And so the grant ask was for $1,000, and they actually turned it up and made it $1,500 instead, because they believed strongly that this was something that should happen.
Great,
and the hope was is that at some point it would not be needed, but the reality of the world is a little bit different right now. And so I think they were very grateful that St. Paul's and the committee had stepped up to be able to help their fellow citizens.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay. Last but not least, and certainly not least in my mind, are the incredible folks behind Parents for Parks, who started in 2019 with a big dream, and a very big dream, and who've been bulldogs about making certain that the back end of Greenwood Park becomes accessible, vibrant, inclusive, and truly livable. So the committee has made a recommendation that as soon as those shovels in the ground are in the ground, that there will be a check from another $2,000 from the Petrolia Community Fund to help support that. And I know Aaron is online along with the Emily. We laugh in the office and say, oh, the Emilys are online today. So I'm sure they'll talk very briefly about what that will mean to them and to the community, because my math says they're ready to build.
That's great news. Ladies, go ahead.
Thanks, Jane, so much. Yes, we appreciate that. Yeah, we're really excited for this grant, and we're really excited to say that we're hoping to start building this summer. So we've been in the talks, so we don't have a date set, but that's the plan. So with this grant money, it'll help us purchase the equipment that needs to go in, and we're super excited to finally see this project through. So thank you for the committee, and thanks to everyone for supporting us and the community.
Thank you, ladies. And I know you've been working hard for the last number of years on this project, and it's really exciting to think that you're going to be able to start maybe this summer.
Yes.
But congratulations and thank you. I'll open it up to council. Does council have any questions? Okay, Councillor Field.
And I don't know if Jane was going to say something else, but I just want to thank Jane. I can't believe you're going to retire. It seems like yesterday you presented this to council. Everything you said that this program was going to be, it turned out to be, and more. You know, I thank you to the committee that you work with. It's going to be big shoes to fill. You've really delivered to Petrolia when you presented this. It's just great. So congratulations. I think retirement's a good thing. I hope to be there someday too. But thank you. Thank you for everything you do. To the organizations, we have amazing organizations out there that are doing so much in our community. There's so many volunteers that are stepping up and doing things. So I just want to thank all of them. I didn't want to thank each one through it, but thank you for everything you're doing for our community as well. So that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Field.
I just do want to thank Joel. I appreciate that, Councillor Field. I am enormously grateful to have been able to work with some extraordinarily giving human beings who believe in their community. And that is very, very true of the town of Petrolia. Petrolia is proud. There's no question about it. Petrolia cares for one another. Petrolia looks to what needs to happen and makes it so. And from my perspective, the good news is you also put your money behind it. Anybody that would like to donate, it's www. I thought I'd throw that in there. No donations too small to make a difference. And there certainly are people that are very, very passionate about the community. And so it has been my honor and privilege to serve. And by the way, I only wear a size 8 shoe, so it's not that big. I don't know what the board has decided, but as soon as I do, you will know. And that person and I will spend some time together talking about how to make Petrolia truly the greatest town on earth. Thanks so much.
Jane, thank you for that. And I too, I guess on behalf of all of council, want to wish you the very best in your retirement. And I mean, you're always welcome here, and it's great having you come to address council. I also, on behalf of all of council, want to congratulate all those that did receive some money and wish you the very best. And I also want to recognize, though, that probably apply to the committee that were not successful. Again, I want to recognize the committee and appreciate the volunteers for taking the time in selecting these groups. So congratulations. And Jane, I think we should do something for our 10th anniversary as well. We can talk about that at a later date. But again, thank you, everyone. Congratulations. And this is great news at a time when we receive so much negative news. This is a good news story. Thank you. I'll ask council one more time. Anything else you'd like to add before we move on? Seeing none. If not, thank you, everyone.
Yes, I do have one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
With the exception of Literacy Lambton, the board chair has that check. The rest are in the mail.
I think we've heard that before. I hope that's good news.
No, that's actually true. I signed them off this afternoon and I physically put them in Canada Post. So those checks will arrive very shortly.
Thank you, Jane.
Fun spending it. Thanks so much.
And I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Okay, thank you, everyone. We will move on to number 11 on the agenda, which is the community announcements, recognitions, and awards. And I'll ask for a move and a seconder to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Field, seconded by Councillor Welton. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive as information only the January 10th, 2022 community announcements as presented.
Before I call the vote, Mrs. Ellsworth, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. I do, in fact, and unfortunately, I believe it's some of that bad news we've been talking about. At the time I wrote this, many of these activities were still taking place. And as you know, today, public skating is not presently active. And in order to access Town Hall, we're asking that you do so by appointment. So there are a couple of minor adjustments to this report since it was written. My apologies.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Any questions from council regarding this motion before you? If not, all those in favor of that motion? Opposed, that motion carries. Thank you. This brings us to the first opportunity for the public to address council, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Pearson, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So again, getting a little old hat at this, but anyone wishing to address council, you are invited to do so through our virtual speakers list. We ask that you please raise your bionic hand, and from there we'll form that speakers list and call upon you one at a time to address council. When you do address council, please turn your microphone and also your video on. So at this time, we will form the speakers list. Please raise your hand. And barring none, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Moving on the agenda, we have the financial accounts report to be received. I'll ask for a move and a second to put those on the for a discussion. Councillor Field, moved by Councillor Field, seconded by Councillor O'Hara. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive as information only the December 7th through 30, 2021 financial accounts as circulated.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. And I do realize, Councillor O'Hara, I'll turn it over to you. I know it's difficult for you, but go ahead, Councillor O'Hara.
Well, yeah, I have a question now. I do have a couple of questions on the accounts because I'm not allowed in the town hall right now. One of them is McNally Excavating. It was a substantial amount of money, and I would like to know where that went.
Okay, I'll ask the treasurer. Can you pull that up, Mr. Charlebois, or would you like to get back to Councillor O'Hara at a later date?
Your Worship, if Mr. Charlebois, I do have that in front of me, should he have a little technical difficulty.
Then that's okay. Go ahead, Mrs. Pearson.
That is for our county drain. That was a contract that was awarded to McNally Excavating through Ardobin Engineering to complete the Highway 21 county drainage works, and that will be through the Drainage Act.
Councillor O'Hara.
So that will be recoverable, that amount of money?
Correct. Yeah, we've gone through the assessment and benefit through the Drainage Act, and that will be recovered.
Okay.
I believe we have to pay our portion of that, do we not?
Yes, Your Worship, we pay up front, and we do have a portion that that's been assigned to the town.
Okay, thank you. Councillor O'Hara.
And there was a couple of other accounts from Sarnia Plumbing and Heating, I believe it was.
Do you remember how much that was for, Councillor O'Hara?
I don't have them in front of me now.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Charlebois.
Yeah, one was for $909 and the other one was for $6,723. Mr. Menzies on, so probably for his area. Were you able to comment on that, Dave? Or we can get back to the councillor later.
I can quickly comment if you wish, CAO and the mayor.
Certainly.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, David.
Councillor O'Hara, the two invoices were a combination of work at the YMCA. The which you probably remember, the mixing valve on the pool deck malfunctioned. So the unit price for that mixing valve was close to $4,000. We did the work late in the evening, not to interfere by shutting the water off and then labor. So that the $6,000 one was the mixing valve for the showers. The $900 one was for replacement of some valves in the basement for pool operations. Hopefully that's satisfactory.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Menzies. Councillor O'Hara, is that okay?
No, it's not okay. That seems like an extremely amount of money to replace a mixing valve.
Okay, maybe I can have you discuss that with the CAO and Mr. Menzies at a later date. Is that okay with you, Councillor O'Hara?
Yes, that's okay, but we will discuss that because that's an extreme amount to replace a
Okay.
mixing valve.
All right, so if Mr. Charlebois, if you could arrange a telephone conversation with Councillor O'Hara and Mr. Menzies just to discuss that and maybe report back at our next council meeting.
Sure. I will do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else from council regarding the accounts? Okay, I think we've read that. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to for reports, motion required by Department for Finance. We have none tonight. Water and wastewater, we have nothing on tonight. For operations, we have a report regarding the detailed engineering and phase 1 contracted administration for 3rd, Derby, Kentail, Mutual, and Holland Street reconstruction. And I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Purdy, seconded by Councillor Welton. And I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I do have an amendment to the motion. It's an apologetic error. Holland is not actually included in that quadrant reconstruction for this time around. It is future possibility, but at this time, it's not part of this quadrant.
Okay, thank you.
So the motion as amended will be that the Council of the Town of Petrolia receive the report of the Director of Operations dated January 10th, 2022 regarding detailed engineering and project management for reconstruction of 3rd, Derby, Kentail, and Mutual Street project, and that staff be directed to proceed with the tender process and the expense of $125,986 plus engineering services be approved.
And so that motion will be as amended. Any discussion from council regarding that motion before you? Mr. Thompson, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. It's an exciting time in the town. Obviously, lots of stuff going on, but those people that live on those streets, it's well overdue. We've had some issues with water main leaks. I think we've had 4 in the last 2 years. So it's one of the last streets in town that doesn't have curb and gutter as well. So they'll all be pleased, and I'm looking forward to getting going.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. And just maybe either you or the CAO, is this a 2-year project? I just want to be clear. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mr. Charlebois.
Certainly. Certainly, Your Worship. Yeah, it is a 2-year project, and for budget 2022. So we've got a part of the project for this year, and then in budget 2023, we'll have all the engineering already done. The company's going to do, MIG is going to do all the engineering this year.
Okay, thank you.
Did you want to add anything, Mike?
No, you covered it, Mr. Charlebois, and like the report said, it should be out mid-March. But just a reminder that Valentina, council approved Valentina detailed engineering, and that hopefully would be going to tender mid-February. I talked to MIG today, and everything's on schedule for that. That's Valentina Street from Petrolia line to the new development.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson, and thank you, Mr. Charlebois. Yeah, that's great news for the town. All right, I'll open it back up to council. Any questions regarding that motion before you? Okay, if not, all those in favor of the motion? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Community services and facilities, we do not have anything for tonight. Under administration, there's a change of the alternate CEMC appointment, which is the Community Emergency Management Coordinator for those listening. And I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor. Moved by Councillor Field, seconded by Councillor O'Hara. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Worship. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive the report of the Clerk Operations Clerk dated January 10th, 2022 regarding update to alternate CMC appointment, and that bylaw number 5 of 2022 before council this evening be endorsed.
Okay, and before I call the vote, Mrs. Pearson, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Just honestly, we noted in the report that we will extend our well wishes to Mr. McLaughlin and his appreciation. And truly, we can't say it enough. He was an excellent part of our team, and he will be sorely missed. But we know that DC Clark will have an excellent angle to fill.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. All right, Councillor Field.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Ms. Pearson just said. Steve McLaughlin did a great job for us, and he will be missed, but it'll fall into good hands with our deputy chief. So I just want to thank Steve for everything that he's done, and I'm glad that you added that part about sending him a letter. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Field. And yes, he has worked faithfully for the town of Petrolia for a number of years in the fire department. Anything else from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Fire and emergency management, we have nothing tonight. Under marketing, arts and communication, it's the 2022 Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II Community Projects and a grant application. And this is requested in the application. That's why it's before council. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor O'Hara, seconded by Councillor Such. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And thank you. That is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse the report of the Director of Marketing, Arts and Communications dated January 10th, 2022 regarding the 2022 Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II Community Projects Grant Application, and that staff are authorized to proceed with completing the application.
Okay, and before I'll go to Councillor Field. If you'd like to speak, go ahead.
Yeah, through your worship to Mr. Menzies, I just wondered, will this be, if we're successful in conjunction, Canada Day will still have a grant that we'll be applying for? And I guess just a second part to that, some of our neighboring communities participated in donating their grants for Canada Day. Has there been any discussion or other municipalities looking at a reason or another thing to apply for? Like they could be applying for us as well. I just wondered if that was an option at all.
Mr. Menzies or Mrs. Ellsworth, would you like to speak to that, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll answer one of the questions, and then Laurissa can do the Queen's Jubilee. Canada Day grant has been applied for. That process is simple, and unfortunately, no. We did some more investigations, got clarification, and we cannot commingle municipal funds for Canada Day. So we stand alone, Councillor Fields, and I'll let Mrs. Ellsworth contribute on the Queen's Jubilee.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship, to Councillor Field. As far as we understand, it is a standalone grant that won't impact the Canada Day grant in any way. It's meant to highlight, obviously, Her Majesty the Queen, and it's meant to also bring to light Canada's history a little bit. So I think it's something that they're hoping will run alongside that other successful Canadian heritage product.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to mention too, back to Mr. Menzies, I know a year or so ago, we did have a couple municipalities that were going to work with us in applying for the Canada Day grant that they didn't use. It's just unfortunate that we can't put them together, but we did work on that a year or so ago, just for your information. Any questions for Mr. Menzies or Mrs. Ellsworth regarding this motion before you? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We have nothing in closed session tonight. This brings us to the second opportunity for the public to address council, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Pearson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we have not had any inquiry or requests, so I will open it up that anyone who wishes to address council, please raise your bionic hand. Once that's raised, we will definitely form a speakers list. And from there, we'll bring you one forward at a time to that speakers list to address council. When addressing council, please have your camera and your camera on and your mute off. We show no one wishing to address council, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. That'll bring us to the new and unfinished business. I have nothing in front of me unless council has something at this time. Seeing none, I'll move on for the consideration of the bylaws. I'll ask for a motion to have the bylaws read a first and second time. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Purdy, seconded by Councillor Welton. Any discussion regarding the bylaws before you being read a first and second time? If not, all those in favor of that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. And we'll move on for a motion to have the bylaws read a third time, signed, sealed, and numbered, moved by Councillor Field. I need a seconded by Councillor Welton, and I will ask the clerk to read those bylaws, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And that is for bylaw number 1 of 2022, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to authorize the borrowing of funds be read a third time and finally passed. That bylaw number 02 of 2022, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to establish a penalty charge for non-payment of current taxes and to provide for interest to be added to tax arrears in 2022, be read a third time and finally passed. That bylaw number 03 of 2022, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to levy and collect a portion of the realty taxes for the year 2022, be read a third time and finally passed. That bylaw number 04 of 2022, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to confirm the commitment of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to protect the health and safety of its workers, be read a third time and finally passed. That bylaw number 5 of 2022, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to appoint a Community Emergency Management Corner, CEMC, for the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia, be read a third time and finally passed. And that bylaw number 6 of 2022, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to confirm the resolutions and motions of council of the Town of Petrolia, which were adopted up to and including January 10th, 2022, be read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you. Any discussion regarding the bylaws before you? If not, all those in favor of having those bylaws approved? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And a motion for adjournment would be in order, please. Moved by Councillor Field, seconded by Councillor Welton. And I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that is for the January 10th, 2022 meeting of the Council of the Town of Petrolia. Be adjourned to the next regular scheduled meeting of council to be held on Monday, February 14th, 2022, or at call of the chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. And that will be Valentine's Day, so we'll all be very happy. Anything else from council regarding our adjournment? If not, all those in favor of adjourning? Opposed? That motion carries. Again, I want to thank everyone. Please stay safe, and stay healthy, and we will talk to you at our next meeting. Thank you.